so we're back with the second volume of Thor, Goddess of Thunder.
Now, this one isn't as long and complicated as the other one. Not that the other one was really complicated, but this one is even simpler. It's basically just Thor wandering around, wanting to know who's got the mask, or who's got the hammer, and,
Well, other Thor is kicking ass and taking names.
Our good buddy Odin has sent the destroyer
after Thor.
And she is just like, dude,
what the hell?
did I deserve this? And he's got his brother, the evil one, snake guy, controlling it. And even his wife is like, what are you doing? What the fuck is wrong with you?
And so she goes to the Odinson, as he's being called now, wandering around, trying to find out who is Thor. And she's like, hey, she's in trouble, and,
we need to get a posse together.
We need to get a posse together.
So she grabs a whole bunch of female superheroes.
Basically everyone on his list.
Yeah.
Like, who's Thor?
Like, alright, we're going now. And
you get just this, sequence of, Marvel ladies kicking ass and taking names.
And it's so interesting because you've got all these female superheroes who are coming together to support this other female superhero because they're like, finally, one of us has made it. One of us has made it to the big leagues. She's doing shit. She's got her name in lights up there. We need to help this woman do as much as she can.
It's like, the next time you're in this city, you should totally look me up and we'll totally go out and fight crime together.
It's totally buddy and heartwarming. And just, people are just so happy to see this woman.
And the Odinson is,
he's just
fighting, and he's, happy, and just, everyone's happy, but the thing is, the Destroyer is basically unstoppable. And so Freya just kind of walks up to it, is like, hey, husband, you really want to do this?
Look at what you're doing.
Oh, you really want to do this?
And he's like, fuck, I've been an idiot. Alright.
Like, call it off.
And you're just like, dude.
Also, we have Malekith the Sorcerer and the Minotaur guy being a...
Dario.
Being a bromance.
Because those two are both crazy. And they both like blood. So they work out very, very well together.
And I think my favorite panel in the entire book is the two of them over wine. Like, oh, well, I'll get my legal team to draw up a paper, and he's like, I'll get my blood mages to, make a blood thing.
A blood binding spell. And so basically, Malekith, in return for Dario handing over the head of the frost giant.
It's great. He's just like, you live in a swampland. And he's like, yeah, I do. He's like, have you ever mined for oil?
Like, wow.
This bitch is straight to the point. Oh, and so we resurrect Laufey, and that's not gonna be good.
No one's gonna have fun.
No.
So it was a very, very short, simple story. But we also got a few short stories, and
were all pretty great.
Then a flashback to 1977, you said?
Yes. We should do the stories first. One of them, which was super cute, was the Warriors 3 find Lady Thor. It's like, yeah, you gotta prove to us your worth. And so they set all these ridiculous challenges.
That apparently Thor had done at one point.
And she, does them easily. Get a lock of the hair of
the Elf
Queen.
And so she goes up to the Elf Queen and is like, hey, can I have your hair? And the Elf Queen's like, sure, here you go. And then gives her a kiss and just walks off like, there you go.
Go to a dragon, this unbeatable dragon, and get a piece of its treasure. And they're kind of after at the end, they're like, oh my god, we're so sorry that we judged you so harshly, and no. And she's like, you know what, this was a lot of fun.
I didn't need to do it to prove to you that I'm amazing, but I had a lot of fun.
It was great.
And so it was totally adorable.
Yeah, and the art style was kind of more cutesy, and it was fluff. There was also another fluff story, which was my favorite out of all of the side stories, and that was kind of a silly story of Thor wants to prove his worth and pick up the hammer because he hasn't picked up the hammer yet. So he's out drinking with his buddies, and he has drank everyone in this bar under the table, and in comes Mephisto, basically Satan, And his plan is to, like, defeat Thor. And how he's gonna do it is drink him under the table.
Because he's come back in time just to do this.
Because at this point, he knows that Thor is at his weakest. Because he is drunk as shit. And so Loki, like, he's like, yes, a chance to fuck with everyone. Like, deems the challenges. And, like, it doesn't matter what they put in front of them. Thor just kills it. Like, he's just drinking everything.
Yeah, Loki's putting the weirdest things in front of them, like stuff with hair,
eyes,
and toxic.
Like, the hair was like Odin's beard.
Yeah, it was literally Odin's beard. And Thor's just like, ah, ah. And Mephisto's just getting drunker and drunker. Until at one point Loki puts a spell on it, and when Mephisto drinks it, he just poofs.
And so, like, Thor, like, beats on Loki, and Loki's like, I totally knew you were gonna win.
Don't worry about it, but...
And then Thor's just like, I will go prove my worth now, and he goes and he tries to pick up the hammer, and he throws up. And doesn't pick up the hammer.
Because he's still not worthy.
Yay! It was cute, it was fun.
It was totally just a good time.
Yeah, nothing serious.
But...
So, we have the end of the world story.
Oh, I forgot about this one. I think I blocked this one out. It's so sad.
It's the end of the world. All the other realms have pretty much fallen, and Thor is now the All-Father, and he spends his days going to Earth and gardening, because Earth is his garden. And his 3 granddaughters decide that they were going to give him something for his birthday, and it has to be awesome, because he's probably going to kill himself.
Yeah, and so he's tending Earth, and Earth's just not happening. So, you know, the granddaughters, they look at old books, and they're making up, like, spell cauldron clay stuff, and so they make all these, like, kind of fantastical animals. So you've got, like, zebras with wings.
And flying sharks.
And elephants with, like, 3 tusks, and, like, 6 legs.
And it's like, look, grandfather, we made you life again.
And he's just, like, he starts to cry. And they're like, and the best part is we still have a little bit of this clay left, so here you go. And so what he decides to do is he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to make this. And they're like, what is he doing? He doesn't even have wings. Like, oh, it's really weird looking. And so he makes Jane and Steve as the new Adam and Eve. And I started laughing and crying at the same time.
Steve Rogers? Captain America?
It's just so damn close to Adam and Eve. It's heartbreaking and sad because, I mean, Thor is practically alone at the end of the world and everything he loved is kind of gone. But at the same time, there's kind of hope for...
Yeah, things starting again. Because isn't that what Ragnarok actually is? Everything ending so a new world can begin.
So sad.
And then Chelsey's favorite part.
This blew my mind because I didn't read anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. And I just kind of like was reading and I'm like, oh, look, it's in the old style. And I wasn't quite sure, but I hoped desperately that this had been written long ago because whoever wrote this has a very different mindset than everyone else on the planet. So it was a what if from the 70s. And it starts off like, I am the Watcher, and this is what happens when Thor originally picks up the hammer, and he thinks he's some other guy, and he's lame, and he's down, and he's like, oh, I'm lame, Jane Foster will never love me, blah, 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 picks up the hammer. They're like, what if Jane Foster had come with him on this trip, and actually picked up the hammer? And so it goes into detail about how she ends up picking up this hammer, and, you know, saving Thor. And he's like, oh, blah, 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 Jane could never love me, I'm lame.
Wait, number 1. The 1970 Lady Thor costume, A+. I
don't know, I was kind of laughing because they're looking, she looks down at a costume, she's like, it's so old-fashioned. She's in like a swimsuit. And I was like, what century are you talking about here?
And so she goes around and she does stuff, and Loki is trapped in a tree.
This was great.
Loki is trapped in a tree, and he can't escape the tree unless someone cries on his regard. And he waits, and he waits, and eventually he's able to get, like, something to blow in Heimdall's eye, so Heimdall sheds a tear, and then he pops out of the tree, and he's like, I have shit to do.
So he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go check on Thor. And
then
lo and
things get
behold,
weird.
yeah, Thor is not Thor. So he's like, I'm going to trick him. I'm going to hypnotize him into thinking he's talking to his real or she's talking to his real self, and get her to hand over the hammer.
It just does not work.
It doesn't even really make sense, but okay.
But he tries, and it doesn't work. And he tries, and it doesn't work. And meanwhile, Thor is getting more and more upset because frickin' like original dude Thor can love her like this, but can't love her as Jane Foster. Like, he can tell Thor that she's like beautiful and crap, and can't tell her that. And so
Yeah, because he'll be talking to Thor, and he'll be like, yes, I'm in love with Jane Foster. And she's like, but why can't you just tell me as Jane Foster? Yeah. Thanks.
And meanwhile, up in Asgard, Lady Sif is bawling her eyes out because when Thor was supposed to come back, you and I were gonna get married, and I can't marry Thor now.
So she goes to Earth, and she's like, help, I'm drowning.
And tries to...
And so Thor's like, oh, I must help this woman who's clearly helpless and drowning. So he swims out there even though he has a bum leg. And she's like, you saved me, Thor, so I guess I'll just heal you. Whoops! They go up to Asgard, and some evil guy's trying to pull out Odin's sword, and it would end the world. And they're like, oh, we stopped him. Whoops. Bop. And then so it ends up that Jane Foster has to give Thor back his thing because it's his right and it's his destiny, and he's going to marry Lady Sif because he's in love with her. And so she's just kind of standing there like, well, I got no magical powers now, and the hammer's gone, it's over there. And then Odin comes up and he's like, hey baby, I don't have a wife.
And there's a little side note in the box being like, in this version of reality, Freya does not exist. Just for your, your note.
Yeah. And you're just like...
And you know what? She goes for it.
She's like, sexy old man beard, let's go on adventures. Don't worry, Thor, I'll be fine. I'm just gonna screw your father. See you later.
Bye. So, it was a lot of fun. It was a little bit terrifying.
I was a little horrified.
It was cool to kind of look back and see where this all came from, but at the same time,
oh man,
we have totally gotten a bit better in the comic section. Just saying.
For as much change as there's not, there's tons that is.
So in other words, I really did like this volume. We didn't actually talk about the big identity reveal, and I guess we probably shouldn't talk about the big identity reveal because that's like...
We'll put it after the credits for you.
Yes. So, have you read Thor Volume 2? Did you like it? Did you not? Tell us about it in the comments below.
And if you like our videos, subscribe, guys. So, our big identity reveal. This is really kind of sad because Thor's going around to everyone, and he's like, oh, Jane Foster, it must be Jane Foster. And he looks at her, and she's just cancer-ridden. She's taken a turn for the worse. She's on Asgard, but she's refusing to let anybody
magically fix her.
Yeah, give her medical attention magically. And she's on chemo. I don't know why. I really don't. So he's like, it's clearly not Jane. And he's like, it must be Roz Solomon, blah, 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 blah. And he goes out, and, he meets Lady Thor, and he's like, why didn't you tell me, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, but, and then Roz Solomon comes up, and she's like, hey, guys, nice to meet you, Lady Thor. And he's like,
I'm so confused right now.
I don't even know. And then it goes back, and it reveals that, lo and behold, it was actually Jane Foster.
Yeah. And she believes that the reason she is Thor is because the person who's rightfully Thor has to understand humanity and value human lives, which I think is kind of cool, but it very kind of is written into it that eventually she will no longer be Thor.
Yeah, she's only kind of borrowing it for a while until Thor gets back on his feet. But it very much presents her like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like she has to be the savior, and she has to suffer for mankind, and, mankind needs somebody to suffer for them.
Well, how often is a Jesus narrative a lady?
No, not very often. Oh. The other interesting thing, though, is it's kind of implied that the thing that brought Thor down was a secret about kind of like original sin. Well, it kind of ties in there too, but it was kind of weird.
Yeah. We can only wait and find out where this goes, so...
Yeah.
Waiting for the next volume.
Anyways, Jane Foster's awesome. Bye, guys.